You ugly little man! You ugly little man! Let's get it on!
Usyk, gold medalist, undefeated, cruiserweight champ, unified all the titles, went up, won the heavyweight title, beat Joshua twice. Boy, if Usyk, I hear you already, too small. He was too small supposedly for Joshua too. But if Usyk could use those great boxing skills, if he could box and move around and just hold his attention with some shots every once in a while and be elusive enough, be enough of a ghost, to stay out of harm's way and, to move to the sides, get the proper angles, and keep it up for 12 rounds, boy, it wouldn't be easy. It would not be easy. It would not be easy. It'd be like you in a marathon. It would be hell to get to the finish line.
Tyson Fury against Oleksandr Usyk is probably the best fight in the heavyweight division at the moment. Two undefeated champions, between whom there is a conflict, will clash in a fierce battle and for the first time in many years, reveal the undisputed heavyweight champion. Will the Gypsy King finally secure his status as the greatest heavyweight in history? Or will the recent cruiserweight fighter Usyk snatch his belt and lead the division himself? Friends, today's video will focus on 5 reasons why Oleksandr Usyk will beat Tyson Fury. Please don't forget about the likes, comments with 4 words, and subscribe to the channel so you will never miss any upcoming videos. Here we go. Number 5. Discipline and mentality. We all perfectly remember what was the deciding factor in setting up this fight. After destroying Derek Chisora, Tyson Fury immediately and brutally challenged Oleksandr, who was sitting in the stands. The British heavyweight used all his trash talk abilities and crossed the line many times, but the Ukrainian did not even flinch. Usyk ignored everything that was said about him, and during a tense stare-down showed that he was not afraid to take the most dangerous fight of his career. Believe me, any other fighter could not take this kind of pressure and would have attacked Fury verbally or even punched him, but not Oleksandr. The Ukrainian is a truly disciplined man. He adapts to and survives all kinds of challenges calmly, and this applies not only to his everyday life, but also to his behavior during the fight. No matter what happens, Usyk always sticks to the advice of his coaches. He is always focused and concentrated, and even if he is going in with a solid advantage, he does not relax but carries out his plans until his opponent is done. Even if he misses a heavy blow, which happens quite rarely, Oleksandr is not lost, but uses his block in order to recover and continue to follow the plan. In some ways, this approach can even be called mechanical. The Ukrainian champion somewhat resembles a tireless Terminator, programmed to perform one specific task: to defeat his opponent by any means. In a clash with Fury, who is used to impose a non-standard rhythm and style of fighting, such discipline and toughness will bear fruit and become a serious help to win. Number 4. Fight tactics. This advantage applies not only to Usyk, but equally to his entire coaching staff. The fact is that developing the right fight strategy is at least half of success, but many heavyweight boxers for some reason neglect game plans or come up with a frankly ridiculous performance strategy. The former absolute cruiserweight champion has no such problems. He always makes a detailed study of his opponents, dissects their style, and discovers their weaknesses. Coming into the ring, Oleksandr knows what to expect from the opponent, and that is why it is impossible to surprise Usyk. It is as if he reads all his opponent's movements like a book and does everything necessary to win confidently and undisputedly. Need to move in the same direction? You're welcome. Need to dive after a specific combination? No problem. Oleksandr clearly follows the coach's advice, which over and over again leads to his success. So, coming out as a big underdog of plus 300 odds, on the first meeting with Joshua, Oleksandr made a real upset and destroyed the British champion, largely due to a brilliant strategy. In the rematch, Anthony tried to take the revenge with his tactics, but he failed the second time too. More than once, Usyk's team was able to find gaps in every opponent's defense, but this time they are going to face the real test, to find weaknesses of the undefeated champion. Yes, the task is definitely not easy, but the team has never let Usyk down before, and this time will play a significant role as well. Number 3. Tricks and feints. The role of deceptive moves in boxing is crucial. If you know how to fog your opponent's eyes with your feints, you can catch him at his mistakes endlessly with hard punches, and Usyk is one of the best at it. So, the champion's lead hand hook became a problem for a lot of boxers. Oleksandr punches a long jab to the body of his vis-a-vis with his right hand quite often, but if his opponents begin to read his punches, he throws body punch feints and catches his opponent's chin with a hook. Such an example is only the tip of the iceberg of champion's tricks. The Ukrainian can change that lead hand hook into an uppercut or even into several one-handed punches. By the middle of the fight, his opponent doesn't know how to react and misses more and more blows. Usyk accumulated this huge arsenal of tricks in his amateur career. In his numerous fights of the 2000s, Oleksandr was constantly checking what tricks worked better and which should be discarded. Anatoly Lomachenko, whose son Vasily is almost famous for performing a phenomenal number of tricks and feints, had helped Usyk. Oleksandr's future rival can also feint, but it seems to me that this skill of the two champions is at a completely different levels, because for Tyson, this kind of tricks are one of the many tools to win, while for Usyk, they are an essential element of his style. Number 2. Combinational work. Nowadays, it is rare to see a heavyweight using multiple combinations. Most of the Royal Division relies on a powerful single blow, followed by an immediate retreat. This is due to the fact that combinations take a lot of strength in addition to an impressive speed of strikes required. But all this judgment is totally unfair if we're talking about Usyk. He simply does not know what it means to rely on one punch. The concept of Oleksandr's style does not imply investing a lot of power into punches. Instead, the champion's attacks are fast, swift, and very voluminous. Perhaps Usyk is the heavyweight who makes the biggest number of actions in each of his fights, starting with moves and ending with a series of punches. At times, Oleksandr's combinations consist of 6 or 7 punches, and it is not a problem at all for the champion to constantly change levels. He switches between body and head in a flash, and when his opponent thinks he's read Usyk, he changes the order of his punches, which makes the rival totally confused and unsure of his every move. This style is a real kryptonite and a headache for heavy and usually immobile heavyweights. Even the seemingly fast and very athletic Anthony Joshua didn't understand how to act against such a dynamic opponent, let alone guys like Chisora. After analyzing all the top heavyweights, it becomes clear that there is only one boxer like Usyk, and that is, oddly enough, Tyson Fury. Undoubtedly, the essence of the styles of these guys is radically different, but the very idea of destroying opponents through superior speed and volume is the same. That's one of the reasons why the Usyk-Fury fight is so interesting. We all want to know, and whose style will win in the end. Number 1. The Suicide's Run. Usyk's confidence and attacking skills have been discussed, but is that really all that makes him such a successful athlete? Certainly not. The cornerstone of the Ukrainian style, and the thing without which all his techniques would be meaningless, are first-class movements. Despite his considerable weight, Oleksandr moves around the ring like a real lightweight. He never stays in one place, and he is supported by the main attribute of the former great Soviet boxing school, Suicide's Run. For many viewers who do not understand the essence of the Suicide's Run, this action may seem like ordinary jumps from side to side, but in fact it makes your body use all its energy and potential. What am I talking about? The point is that when a boxer performs such a movement, he strikes exactly at the movement when he lands on his supporting leg, transferring all his weight to it. This is done in order to give his attack a natural acceleration and force that it lacks. As a result, a seemingly easy blow turns out to be very harsh, painful, and almost unpredictable. Even watching Usyk's leg movements doesn't help much, because the Ukrainian has to make a lot of different micro movements, which are very confusing and make the opponent tense, and make him tired even faster. Speaking of fatigue, yes, the Suicide's Run has its advantages, but you have to have outstanding stamina to use the style to the fullest. And what should Oleksandr do, who competes at heavyweight? In fact, the Ukrainian is not a genetically gifted marathon runner and cannot maintain such a pace all the time, so he found a simple but effective approach to solve the problem. Throughout the first half of the fight, the champion is active, constantly moving and taking rounds, and then takes a breather. In a few vital minutes of rest, he gets a second wind, and in the later rounds, Usyk is just as chipper as he was in the beginning. In my opinion, it is Usyk's suicides and movement tactics that will be the main problem for Fury, because even with the Briton's incredibly large reach, it will not be easy to catch such a moving target. Tyson Fury is definitely the best heavyweight of recent years. On the way to his greatness, the Gypsy King destroyed dozens of elite opponents, and he did it super confidently. In recent years, it seemed that nobody would be able to stop this outrageous Brit, because he looked too unbeatable. But now, there is some fresh blood in the division. Undefeated Olympic champion Oleksandr Usyk is ready to challenge Fury, and for the first time since Tyson's fight with the Bronze Bomber, it seems that the contender has a real chance to win. Yes, Oleksandr comes out as a solid underdog, but you can't underestimate him because just recently he already had tremendous upset.